Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's video. What I'd like to do in this video, and then there's going to be a part two that I'll talk about in just a second, is I want to review some of the fragrances that I've actually purchased, either in full bottle or in travel spray, of the deluge of new releases that we've been bombarded with over the past few months. I went ahead and caved and purchased a few blindly, revisited a few, and I have some yeses, I have some maybes, and then I have some nos that I would recommend that you either stay away from or make sure you absolutely try out before you purchase. I'll be filming a second video right after I finish this one, highlighting some of the newer fragrances that I know will be released over the next few weeks and into September. And I bet we are going to get an entire tidal wave, avalanche, hurricane, and tornadoes worth of brand new perfumes after that, like into October, maybe even early November, as brands start to get us ready for the holiday season and want to get their products into our carts to purchase for the holidays. You know that's coming. And I've seen some that I think are probably going to be right up my alley, where I'm just like, just take my money. Just take my money. Just add it to cart, blind buy, give them all to me. I want to try them. But first, let's take a look back at some of the recent releases. Maybe you're still considering some of these or wondering whether you should pick them up or not. And I want to share my thoughts because I got some opinions for you. I'll start off with my yeses, the ones that I think that you should probably try out. I think they are worth trying. There's something unique or different or special or comforting or cozy or some other adjective about them that makes them appealing to me. Maybe they would be to you as well. So the first one is one that I really don't hear anyone talking about quite yet. And this is, I only found it, excuse me, on the Ulta website. I don't even see it on the brand website. Maybe I'm not looking in the right place, but this is from Ellis, Brooklyn, and it is vanilla salt. First of all, it had me at hello with the frosted bottle. I'm really sort of into this kind of look, the nudie pinks, the sort of frosty, delicately colored, kind of creamy looking aesthetic. I really enjoy that look overall. So that kind of gives you a sense of what this fragrance is like. The notes here at the top, there's a mineral accord, sea salt accord, and desert water. Doesn't that sound crazy? But hang on, let me tell you about this. In the middle, there are some soft florals and whipped cream. And in the base, what stands out to me mostly is a great vanilla, luminous musk, as they call it, and blonde woods is what stands out. So I have had a chance to do a full day wear on this. I am so tickled with this fragrance. It reminds me quite a bit of Gucci Gorgeous Orchid in the yellow bottle, except doesn't have anything like the banana note. If you think about, if you've tried that, the one in the yellow bottle, it has this airy, fluffy, ozonic kind of vanilla. When I think about the accords in here, although it says mineral accord, sea salt, desert water, what I get mostly is something very sort of airy, light, floating in the air. Like when you're baking a dessert and you have something that is milky or creamy and you're whipping it quite a bit until there's a lot of air in it. Imagine that with vanilla and a little bit of saltiness and perhaps a slight tinge of like that mineral thing, but it's so faint and pale in the background. It's mostly like this whipped vanilla with this saltiness to it. And I definitely detect a lot of vanilla in the base, really soft, fluffy, light musks. And I love the concept of blonde woods. When you think about yellow or lighter colored woods, they typically tend to be less intense in terms of the scent of them than your darker, heavier woods that you would use for furniture making, for example. I only know that because my husband, as a hobby, turns wood. He makes bowls and things like that. So I've had a chance to smell a lot of woods as he has carved them down or put them on the lathe and kind of, turn them into a bowl. Anyway, this is quite the lovely fragrance for those of you that appreciate like the gorgeous gardenias of the world. If you like Jean Paul Gaultier Divine, if you like Olympia, the original one. This has sort of vibes of that, kind of even more modernized, like a 2025 light, chic, clean aesthetic girl version of those. The bottle gives you a perfect sense of what this fragrance is like. My only complaint with this fragrance, as with all Ellis Brooklyn fragrances, is well, most of the Ellis Brooklyn fragrances, the lasting power is not there. And so I did do a full day wear and I got maybe like a half a day. By about lunchtime, I had a really hard time sniffing it on myself, except maybe very faintly as a skin scent. I had to come back upstairs and reapply it. And that's okay. I think the fragrance is worth it in terms of the price point, and the scent profile is delightful enough that I don't mind it. And I just love this beautiful, simplistic, minimalist bottle with like a touch of pizzazz with the coloring, the light coloring. Beautiful. Then I have an unpopular opinion about the next fragrance, and it is that I actually like it quite a lot, even though it is getting a lot of negative reviews or a lot of meh reviews. And I'll talk about why that is in a minute. So, this is Rare from Selena Gomez. So, if you're familiar with Selena Gomez's makeup line, she designed all of the products to be easy to handle with by people that have mobility issues, that may have arthritis or difficulty opening things because of physical restrictions. And so the bottle here is the same idea. It has a very wide top to it, so it would be easy to depress versus other fragrances where you may have to apply more pressure with the finger on the atomizer. That kind of thing is shorter and squatter, so it's easier to maybe hold in one hand and apply. So I do like the bottle design. I was fully prepared not to like this fragrance. I do have some of her makeup products and I enjoy them, but it's not like I'm a huge, Selena Gomez stan and will purchase anything that she puts out there. Not the case, but I was very interested in this fragrance because of the description here. Warm and decadent, a touch of spice. It's called a gourmand. I'm not sure that I would consider this a gourmand fragrance, but more so like a general vanilla leaning fragrance. It's caramel and pistachio. There's vanilla and ginger, and then sandalwood is a primary player as well. I am interested in a full bottle of this. The main complaint that I have heard from a lot of people and have seen in a lot of reviews is that this fragrance smells too similar to Burberry Goddess, which I also own. I own the original and I own the intense version, and I have tried the parfum version now as well. This fragrance, yes, it has sort of a similar base, if you will, as Burberry Goddess, but I think it's a little bit distinct in that there's something even cozier and a tad bit spicier than Burberry Goddess, perhaps because of the added ginger note and the focus on some sandalwood addition versus mostly the vanilla in Burberry Goddess does set them apart slightly, enough that Rare could be considered its own unique fragrance. You don't get the lavender in Rare that you get in Burberry Goddess. So there are differences there. I will tell you of the fragrances that I'm going to be talking about today. This one elicited like the softest reaction from my husband, where it was like, oh, I really like that on you. That one is nice. More so even in comparison to some of the others that I'm gonna talk about. This was like an instant love for him. So it's a very likable fragrance. I'll tell you, maybe even more than Burberry Goddess, it reminds me of like a very toned down Altair from Parfums de Marly, with the feminine aspects of that one maybe amped up a little bit. It's definitely a beautiful, soft, like medium density vanilla. Like, look, let's see here. Vanilla salt is a very light smelling vanilla in terms of the thickness, the texture of the vanilla in here. I'm going to talk with you in a little bit about bare sueded vanilla, which I would consider maybe a heavier vanilla in terms of the texture. Rare is, in my opinion, a sort of medium density vanilla. It is so gently spiced with the ginger. I would even say that there might be some other kinds of fall kitchen types of spices in it that you might put on a cookie. It has a touch of sweetness. I don't really pick up a lot of caramel myself in the fragrance, to be honest, but I do pick up a very soft, gentle, woody base from the sandalwood. So this gets a really big thumbs up from me. I am considering purchasing a bottle. I do think that it gets softer after a half day's wear. Some people have complained that it completely fades on them too quickly. I understand that, and that is a criticism of it. It did last longer than vanilla salt. That said, there's something so soft and gentle and appealing, like a cozy hug type of appeal to Rare with a little bit of sophisticated feminine edge. I really do like it, and I give it a big thumbs up despite the negative reviews that it's getting. So in that way, I'm an outlier. I'm a fan of Rare. Unfortunately, the next fragrance is currently out of stock. I think it's only sold in Harrods. I am not sure if this is sold on the Carolina Herrera website. We are talking about the beautiful Cedar Chic. When I go to the Carolina Herrera website, it looks like I can shop for it. And when I click on shop, it says page not found. So I don't know what that means, if it's not available to us in the United States and sold abroad. I'm not sure. I purchased this from the Harrods website. It went out of stock, came back in stock, and I was one of the people that helped it go back out of stock because I immediately added to cart and brought it over. I did pay full price for this, which is generally against my rules, but I didn't know where else to find it, and I was desperate to get my hands on it. The bottle is, I mean, these bottles from the confidential line from Carolina Herrera are just, they're all beautiful, very heavy weighted bottles with the fluting, and they're all colored on the inside, painted on the inside. And there's like a linen label on this with the name of the fragrance, Cedar Chic. You have the beautiful imprinted cap that is magnetic. So the presentation of this is quite nice. The fragrance itself is lovely to me. This was a win, but I want to tell you a funny story about this fragrance. Let me tell you the notes first. At the top, bergamot aldehydes. In the middle, orange blossom. The base notes, cedar wood and white musks is what's on the website. So that's all you know about the notes that are in the fragrance. The day that I wore this, it felt like it was spraying out rather light. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm probably going to have to douse myself to be able to smell this on me. So I proceeded to do the crazy routine where you're all everywhere, all over. I probably had 15 sprays of this thing going. Oh my gosh. And I get a text from my husband. Did you spray something on? Mind you, I was in my bedroom, inside of the bathroom, which is at the far end of the house. So you have to walk out of my bathroom, through my bedroom, into the foyer, down the stairs, and into my husband's office to know where he was sitting. He was in his office smelling this, and he did not like it. As I said, yes, why, yes, I sprayed on Cedar Chic from Carolina Herrera because we had tried it out the night before when it arrived, and he liked it on first spray. Thought it was really lovely, sophisticated, all of that. But apparently, the 15 sprays or more probably that I sprayed was overwhelming and wafted through the house into his office and knocked him out in a bad way. So then I felt awful because I knew that I had doused myself in this, and my office is right across the foyer from his. So I kind of scurried into my office for the day and closed my doors and stayed huddled up in my office so I didn't offend anybody. But when he came back into the office to smell me later on, really, he came to talk to me, but he smelled me later on and thought that I smelled really good up close. He said something about that sort of lingering in the air kind of knocked me out, but up close, meaning like within my scent bubble, he thought it smelled really beautiful. So I'm hoping that it's just that I sprayed too much. I bring all of that up to say that this is a clean, sort of like laundry-esque, but not dryer sheet. Okay. Fresh laundry, like a musky, almost milky, perhaps even creamy fresh laundry, if you can imagine that. It smells how the bottle looks. I don't get much of like a citrusy bergamot type of experience at the top, perhaps like a dash, like a sprinkle of that. The majority of the fragrance are these very clean, linear, crisp aldehydes. To me, it's supposed to represent the crisp, clean, nicely pressed white shirt that Carolina Herrera is famous for wearing. Like she'll wear that with these big flowing skirts and all of that. So this is supposed to represent the feeling of that shirt or the sort of classic nature of the white, crisp shirt. And I think it captures that. The note that I bet bothered my husband a little bit is the cedar here, because I do feel like the cedar is a little pronounced. So if you are sensitive to woody notes, if you don't like the sort of clean, linear, structured nature of a cedar note, it bothers you, you may dislike this. For those of you that like the whole soapy, laundry like, clean, milky, musky aesthetic. Those kinds of fragrances appeal to you. If you like Borelli from Tiziana Terenzi, if you like 724 from Francis Kurkdjian, Chemise Blanche from LM Parfums, Noah from Cacharal, if you like ceramic from Andrea Mack, this is in that same family. I feel like it has just like the fluffiest sophistication to it. I don't know if I'm biased because I paid full price. And the bottle is giving me that effect. And so it's sort of like helping my mind imagine all of the ways that this fragrance shows up to another person sniffing it. I will also give this the credit of my very picky 16-year-old son walking into my office and telling me that I smelled good. And so for him to say that, that's a big deal. So I'm going to forgive that initial crazy wafting experience that my husband had, and I'm going to put it off on I just sprayed too dang much because I had compliments on this the rest of the day. Do I think it is worth the over $300 price tag? It's up to you to decide. Me being a fan of the Confidential line and liking both the presentation, the scent, and the fact that this did last all day on me. I caught whiffs of this through the entire day. I could smell it on my clothing when I went to wash it. It was nice and soft, milky, musky, aldehydic, beautiful fragrance with that nice cedarwood base to it. I think that this is a winner. So if you can get your hands on it, I don't know how somebody might sample this. It's only sold at Harrods, is my understanding. And so I guess you have to watch the like the scent splits of the world, those sites that offer decants, and see if you can grab one of these. But this is a big yes. Then those of you that are Tom Ford stands or Black Orchid stands have probably been waiting for some reviews on Black Orchid Reserve Parfum. The third in the line, actually, there's supposed to be four. I think there's an eau de toilette. I don't know. I have the eau de parfum, I have the parfum version in the gold bottle, and then I have this one, Black Orchid Reserve. Ooh, that I purchased from Ulta. I am a fan of Black Orchid. Not everyone is, as I'm sure you're aware. It is one of the most polarizing fragrances of, modern times, and with good reason. When I first tried the original Black Orchid, I was repulsed. It's like, what is wrong with people? Who thinks that this smells good? This is disgusting. And then I wore it. I wore it on skin. I saw the reactions of others to it and grew to love it myself, particularly as it dries down on your skin and transforms into this like vampire slayer smell, or maybe the vampire itself. I don't know. It's definitely like Halloween, spooky night sexy. It's got a lot of attitude. It's dark. It's vampy. It's dark cathedrals, dark castles. It's everything that horror movies are made of in like the sexiest, most appealing, most unique way possible. One of the most beautiful fragrances that I have smelled, but it's like one of those kind of like acquired tastes. Like if you ever hated the idea of eating oysters, for example, raw, and then you tried them and fell in love with them, or sushi or something like that, and now you can't live without those things. I feel the same way about Black Orchid. Thought I would hate it, allowed myself to wear it and love it, and now have several versions of it. This one, oh my God, this is one of the rudest, most obnoxious fragrances I have tried in a long time. First of all, let me show you the bottle for those of you that care about that sort of thing. It's the typical Black Orchid bottle, and it's got this unique little feature of this gold band across the bottom, if you care. Most people could care less, could not care less, I meant. So, anyway, when I opened this, sprayed in our family room, left the family room, came back, and could not get this out of my nostrils. It was everywhere. This is a very loud, potent, overpowering, woody chypre smell. It's got patchouli. It has an orchid note, supposedly something called a ghost orchid note. I have no idea what that is. I still get some of the like truffle, chocolatey nuances that you get in the original as well, like very faint, dry versions of that in the background. I believe the original has an ylang note and perhaps some other florals as well. And so it's a very highly complex fragrance. It's funny when people talk about niche fragrances smelling so unique, which I think is an old stereotype that needs to die because it's just actually like factually and statistically not true if you look at the world of niche fragrances in comparison to others. We can debate that another time. I'm sure somebody's going to jump in the comments and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. But if there is something like a niche aesthetic, even though Tom Ford is a designer brand, it definitely embodies that. And what I mean by that is just another way of saying this is one of the most artistic, challenging fragrances to understand. So keep in mind, my family room it's huge and it has really tall ceilings. So for a few sprays of this to fill up that entire space and just continue to linger hours later was really, really rude. Really rude. What is that sound that's been going around on social media? That was rude. That is really f***ing rude. I think that's how it goes. This, though, when it dries down, so you got to spray on, give it a second to dry. Well, excuse me, give it about 30 minutes to dry down. It is like the original Black Orchid with even more intensity, like a little bit more amped up, and the edges rounded out even further. So if there's such a thing as like an airiness in the original Black Orchid, which I think would be a hard adjective to use to describe that, but if that has anything like that, it is amplified here and made creamier. Like there's a density to this that I think sets it apart from the original and even from the Parfum version. I think it's beautiful, definitely an acquired taste. For those of you that are looking for something unique and you want to smell different than everyone else, you like the idea of smelling sexy vampy, dark, mysterious, like you could either be the villain or the vigilante. Did you watch the last Batman? The one, is it the last one? Where it was filmed in like a noir fashion, where all of the filters that were used in the movie gave you a nighttime setting, the really long one. This is Batman's scent, except it's unisex. I think ladies can pull this off quite easily as well. So anyway, I won't go on and on any further except to say that this is a win if you can get past the obnoxious introduction of this fragrance. So then you may be seeing newer fragrances from the House of Dastan, which is a new brand through Max Aroma exclusively. They are inspired by Persian culture and lifestyle and have this kind of like timeless elegance type of aesthetic to them. And they reached out and asked if I was interested in trying some fragrances. I said yes. I picked out two. One is a win. and one is not a win. Still want to tell you about both of them. And I want to show you what these look like in case you're interested. So I want to talk first about the fragrance called You. Here's the general packaging. It looks like all of the boxes will look like this. And it's got nice little touches. I know most people don't care about packaging, but these sorts of things matter when you're talking about luxury pricing. Things like the ribbon right here, and then the ribbon underneath the fragrance that allows you to pull it up. Little touches like this make a difference. They take time to put together, they add a little bit of extra expense, all of that sort of thing. And here's the bottle for you with a question mark. You with a question mark. So again, this is inspired by Persian culture, architecture, temples, all of that. I was surprised that I like this fragrance more than the other one that I just thought I was going to love. I will say about this because I got a discovery set of Dastan fragrances too. They're all very strong. They're all unique creations. So if you're tired of the same old, and you have a tolerance for robust, stronger, more unique fragrances, kind of like Black Orchid Reserve there, definitely check out this house, check out the discovery set, see if any of them tickle your fancy. The primary features of this one are a lovely warm fig and milk note, white chocolate, sandalwood, and tonka. Those are the primary features for this fragrance. Again, it came on strong, and as it settled down, I was reminded of fragrances like BDK's Gris Charnel. Like if you took that and you added a creamy tonka base to it, you may understand a little bit of what You smells like. If you've been fortunate to try Plume Impressions Murmurdette, again, similar kind of creamy sophistication. That one is a little bit more airy and slightly metallic. This one here is very warm, very unisex and warm. I wouldn't say it leans masculine or feminine, straight unisex, very easily wearable, particularly as we enter the fall here into winter, comforting sweater weather. There's something elegant and sophisticated about this fragrance, cozy, compelling, warm. Imagine wearing a cashmere sweater with some very structured pants and you're walking down the avenue remembering a great memory or something. So you've got the coziness of the sweater, the structure of the pants, and the comfort and familiarity of that memory is kind of captured in this fragrance. So this is my favorite of the two. One that I would definitely say check out if you are a sandalwood lover and if you like the warmer, creamier fig versus like a green fig. So this was my yes of the two that they sent me. I'll talk about the other one in just a bit here. Okay, so sort of in the middle category here, I have two fragrances that are now absolute yeses for me, but I would suggest that you try first because I'm not sure if they are mass appealing fragrances. In fact, one of these I know is very polarizing. And so actually, I have three in this category. The third one I've heard raved about. It just didn't work for me, but I want to share my thoughts with you. So the first one is the new Victoria's Secret Bare Sueded Vanilla. I ended up going with the smaller bottle just because I hadn't tested it. I think that this is a really cozy, warm, woody vanilla. It says suede, but for me, it comes across a little bit more woody. It's sort of milky and dense, and there's a vanilla in this fragrance that to me has a like a thickness to it, a density to it. So remember, we talked about vanilla salt maybe being the lightest, wispiest vanilla. Rare from Selena Gomez having that sort of medium density. This is the one with the thicker density to it. According to the note structure, this has wild saffron. I can't say that I pick up sort of a distinct saffron, at least in the ways that I've smelled it in other fragrances. So if I didn't know that that was a note, I wouldn't tell you to think about that as you sniff it. The heart is creamy sandalwood and spiced woods, absolutely. Lush vanilla, suede, and clean musks as the base. This is warm, it's cozy, it's a little spicy, woody, heavily vanillic. And so to me, this is a fall and winter fragrance. I think it would be maybe a little bit suffocating in the summertime if you sprayed a lot of it. Although, in the evenings when it's cooled off, sure. It even has a little bit of an ice cream note. If you had the chance to smell vanilla milk from Ellis, Brooklyn, one that I'm actually going to be letting go. One of the promises of vanilla milk was that it had this little bit of an ice cream touch to it. There were some other things going on with that fragrance too that made it a little problematic, but that ice cream note, I'm trying to remember what else I smelled this summer that had a distinct ice cream note. Oh, golden pistachio from Sensatio, something like that in here. It's like a Breyer's ice cream. Imagine that sort of melted at the bottom of a little bowl and you get that sort of milky, creamy effect. I feel like Bare Suede Vanilla is that sort of creamy melted ice cream with a woody base, some touches of spiciness, and it doesn't really smell suede to me. I wouldn't call this suede. I would call this heavy vanilla, woods, a little bit of spice, and that ice cream thing happening. And I really like the bottle. I love these little bottles, the shapes of them, I find them very novel and cute, and this was nicely projecting and pretty long lasting on me. So this gets a thumbs up from me. I would suggest that people try it first because for me, the woodiness of this might be surprising to people that are expecting a heavily vanillic fragrance. And it's a little thicker than I think people might be anticipating from a Victoria's Secret fragrance. So try it first, but I give it a huge thumbs up. Okay, I gotta tell y'all about the next one. I tried a sample of I bought it. Amouage Existence, and wasn't sure whether it was for me or not. I was intrigued by the oddness of it and also confused by the oddness of it, which has happened to me with a bunch of other Amouage fragrances as well. So I wasn't sure what I thought of it. My husband liked it in the air. He thought it was intriguing, but was also like trying to place the scent. This was on a sample. This just goes to show you about sampling and how confusing it can be, maybe sometimes less than it is helpful. And so fast forward to my vacation in Orlando, Florida. I had the chance to meet the beautiful Rose Ayala, who is at the Perfume Addict channel. And we hung out, and I had a bunch of samples, including this one. She sprayed it on, and I was sitting like across from her on the couch. And I remember it wafting through the air and me going, oh my gosh, like it smelled very different to me on her than it did up close when I was sampling it. Okay. And I thought, I think I kind of see why people enjoy this fragrance now because for a while I was a little confused about the enormous, like groundswell of hype that this fragrance was getting. And I was thinking, are people smelling the same thing that I'm smelling? Because I just don't get it. But it smelled so beautiful on Rose. A plot twist, she hated it. She did not like it at all. She thought it was like too fresh, too green, she called it, and that's just not her vibe. But it smelled so beautiful on her. By the way, the same thing happened with Empatia, my sample of that. She tried that on and smelled like a goddess. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this fragrance now. Like I must buy it because I want to smell how she smells just for the sample. Anyway, fast forward again. And I was watching Liz at Naturally Liz. Hey girl, hey. She has like a little 2-minute video out where she and her brother Michael are talking about this fragrance and how when he smelled it on her, he told her it was the best smell that he had ever smelled on her. And he said that it had like what was it? Like a hint of Jesus in it. And so between Rose smelling amazing with it and Michael's reaction and Liz actually having it and wearing it, I thought to myself, I think I need this now. Like, I'm convinced that this is something special. I had seen other reviews where people were raving about it. I didn't dislike it. I just thought it was odd and I couldn't sort it out in my brain, you know? So I went ahead and ordered it. Another expensive buy. Ended up paying, well, I used my own discount code at Twisted Lily for this. So I did get the discount code off of it. So I have that, right? Like that bit of a discount. And that made it worth it to me. So long story short, it arrived. I sprayed this on, went downstairs, and I kid you not. So I walked down the foyer stairs and into my kitchen. My husband was on a work call. He stood up while he was on his work call. He had like his little headphones on. He walked through the foyer, followed me into the kitchen, followed me around the island, and came right up on me, right up on my neck. He was like, "What is that? That is amazing. You smell so good." So apparently, it's the sillage of this thing that puts people in a freaking trance. Why? I don't know. I still don't quite understand it, except that if I felt like that when Rose put it on, I was like, my gosh, she smells amazing. There is this freshness to this, but I don't think it's just fresh. There is a pronounced frankincense note in the fragrance, and frankincense for me, it's a resinous, like a balsamic resinous note. However, I heavily associate frankincense with incense because I remember as a child people taking frankincense and heating it up, like the chunks of it, in a little bowl, and it lets a smell off in the air, and that is what's here. So it's similar to the notes that are in Lineage, if you've tried that one from Amouage, where it has this like most sophisticated, clean spa smell, like the most luxurious oils, frankincensey kinds of oils, incensey kinds of oils. It doesn't smell smoky or anything. So don't think of incense as in like smoky. Think of just like that pure like resin smell and aldehydes and rose and lily of the valley, and somehow it combines into this intoxicating clean but incensey smell. I say incense because that's what I associate with frankincense, again, not because it smells smoky in any way shape or form. Wow. So up close, it actually smells like crushed herbs, and maybe that's what was confusing me when I tried it this summer. In the air, apparently, it smells like heaven and a hint of Jesus. And I got the biggest compliment from my husband. My son also enjoyed this. I went out in public. Someone commented that I smelled really lovely with this. I think the word they used was sophisticated. You smell so sophisticated. So this is a winner. When I tell you this lasted all day, it went all day and lingered on my clothes until I washed them. You don't need a lot of this. Please don't overspray. Go light on the trigger because it is a powerful fragrance. So I don't even know how to describe this. It's one you just have to try. You will either love it or be repulsed by it. Maybe you'll be confused like I was the first time that I tried it, but I want to give this a big thumbs up. And it's in the middle category here because I think it can be a confusing scent. It can be a confusing scent. So then the second fragrance that I had a chance to try from House of Dastan, I'm also putting in this middle category. This didn't work for me, so I want to be clear about that. But others love this so much, and I can see how this would be one of those fragrances that in the air smells fabulous to other people, but maybe like up close is maybe a little bit much. So this one is called Game of Joy. It's been getting a lot of airtime here on YouTube. I want to share with you what this reminds me of. This bottle looks like so, pardon the fingerprints, but it's got the little purpley tone to the liquid on here. And so the primary notes here are passion fruit, Timor pepper, watermelon, and mango. So this opens super strong. When I first tried this out, I thought this is a winner, slam dunk. I love this fragrance. It reminded me of Mind Games Counterplay, the fruity floral that has the banana and I think a guava and a passion fruit note, and I forget what else. Like that with a woody base. It had some hints of the Ellis Brooklyn guava granita to me. I also picked up hints of juice by Commodity, that kind of like very juicy fragrance. I don't think this is for everyone, and I would suggest that you try it first. If you love it, you're gonna love it. If you don't like it, you might get a reaction like me where it was too much of a good thing, like it was overpowering. It opened strong and it stayed strong. As it dried down, I took some notes over here because I wanted to be sure to tell you. So pardon me looking away. It felt like it was dark and brooding, fruity, almost like it had green mango and patchouli. And so I looked up the full set of notes, and in fact, it does have a good dose of patchouli. The base I called like sassy wood, sassy woodiness with patchouli. And I felt like those base notes dominated the fragrance in the dry down for me in a way that I didn't enjoy so much. I love patchouli. I don't have anything against it. I'm not, like a patchouli hater. I like patchouli. But it was too heavy on the patchouli, too heavy on the woods, such that those notes kind of overpowered the fruity opening that I found attractive. In the opening, you do get this airy, fluffy watermelon note that I thought maybe fluffy is not the right word, more like wispy and thin that I thought was distinctive and I enjoyed. And at first I thought, oh gosh, I finally have found a watermelon fragrance that works, that has enough of that I could enjoy it and didn't smell too like plasticky, synthetic, whatever word you want to put on it, too much like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. It actually smelled like fresh watermelon, but that faded off. And then you're left with this like dark, fruity, woody base and patchouli. And the woods and the patchouli were just a bit much. I personally prefer the other choices. I prefer Counterplay. I prefer Juice by Commodity. I prefer Guava Granita over this. And so I'll stick with those. I have those in my collection. If you don't have any of those and you don't mind a strong base, then Game of Joy would be one to try. If you want a fruity fragrance that has those kinds of notes, the watermelon, the mango, passion fruit, maybe try this out. They have discovery sets that are quite nice, great for gifting too. And these come with about 5 or 6 fragrances in them that you can try out. So overall, Game of Joy was just too complex for me, but I would say try it out. I think it's an interesting scent. Now, friends, we're going to move on to some fragrances that I might suggest skipping on with exception, So I know that everyone is loving this and it's getting a lot of hype, but unfortunately, I got a travel spray of Queen's Caramel from Ellis Brooklyn. This is a pass for me. I just feel like this scent profile is everywhere. It's very much Bianco Latte-esque. And when that fragrance came out, it took the fragrance world by storm. Everyone had to have a bottle. It sold out here, there, and everywhere. That one, if you're not familiar, smells like an airy vanilla, but it's a heavier airy vanilla. And it's got like this cinnamon bun vibe to it, in my opinion. So I feel like Queen's Caramel is a lot of that. I will say at first I was impressed by it when I tried it because I got this very heavy, like almost like a caramel, like a dripping hot caramel scent from it. That was on first try. The second and third time that I tried it, I didn't get any of that. I don't know if I just got weird, like my nose got weird with it or what, If you're still getting that creamy, drippy caramel deliciousness, let us know in the comments. For me, it was just another like Bianco latte type of fragrance that I think the scent profile for me, my opinion, my personal taste is a little played out. The bottle's gorgeous. You know, I'm a fan of the Ellis Brooklyn aesthetic, even though the fragrances don't tend to last long. I like the bottle style. I like the concepts of the fragrances. And Queen's Caramel is a beautiful bottle and it had promise, but it just kind of fell flat for me. It fell flat. So look, if you can't get enough of vanilla fragrances, if you want all the Bianco latte-esque fragrances, try out Queen's Caramel. It might scratch yet another itch for you. For me, it's just an overdone scent profile that I thought, oh, I could really pass on this. I don't need another one of these kinds of fragrances in my collection. So then, as much as I hate to say this, because I think this is a gorgeous little bottle, I have a travel spray of this too, and it is from Nest, Creme de Clementine or Clementine, depending on how you pronounce that. I did do a full wear on this. It opens so nice. It's this creamy creamsicle smell. If you like an orange creamsicle or you've been looking for a scent like that, this is going to scratch that itch, but on the opening. Then it settles down into something a little bit more woody and orange. And for me, at this point, with my own personal tastes, I don't want to smell like a woody orange, my own, preference. If you like that, you may be interested in this, but I do think that this is one that can be skipped, dare I say. Personal opinion, of course, you can go check it out yourself. The bottle is precious. There's nothing as cute as the Nest artwork. It's just delightful. So think creamy, definitely like a pronounced photorealistic orange smell. And then it dries down into like even like a musky, woody orange smell that I didn't enjoy very much. I didn't dislike it, I just didn't enjoy. I found myself wanting for it to go away so I could try something else on. So that's my honest thoughts on Creme de Clementine, beautiful little bottle. Now I'm gonna end with telling you my big disappointment of the season, and it's maybe one of the ones that I was looking forward to the most because it had so much promise. Could have been so beautiful. Debbie Gibson. Is that a Debbie Gibson song? Or is it Tiffany? Hold on. It is Tiffany. It's a Tiffany song. Could have been so beautiful. This is from Phlur and it is Mrs. Smith. Unfortunately, Mrs. Smith was a big miss. I hate to use this word because I think it comes off pretentious and it's really overused, but it just smells cheap. That is the word that came to mind. I kind of don't like it when people call fragrances cheap, but it just is. It's kind of cheap smelling. I don't know. It smells like hairspray that cost $1.50 and somebody sprinkled some Jolly Rancher apple smell in it and called it a fragrance. And now you're spraying it all over yourself. Like I would spray this on dolls if I was a little kid. Okay. Think about the strawberry shortcake doll. Like it had a nice little strawberry smell. Imagine she had a friend that was called like apple tart. You'd spray this on apple tart. It's that kind of smell. It is tart. It definitely has a very, very green apple smell, like a Granny Smith type of smell, but it's overshadowed by this like chemical disaster happening around it. I don't know what happened here. I'm really disappointed. If you're looking for an apple smell, does Bath and Body Works still make country apple? Let's look it up. I don't know. It looks like the smell is retired. Country apple. To me, that was one of the most realistic, fun fall apple smells that didn't smell too heavy in the body spray direction. I mean, it's still a body spray, but I don't know. I still like the search for the perfect apple fragrance continues. This ain't it. This ain't it. So I don't even know if I want to give this to my daughter for her to smell like this. I don't even want her walking around smelling like this. So this was a big disappointment. Did you try this? Do you love it? Let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'm crazy. The notes here: Granny Smith apple, pear, watermelon, apple blossom, violet, pink lady apple, pink praline, musk, nectar. But honestly, all I get is screechy, cheap hairspray with a sprinkle of Granny Smith apple smell. And it's just a big no for me. So friends, those are my thoughts on some of the new releases that I've had an opportunity to personally try out on my own skin chemistry. Of course, these are my opinions. If you have your own that are different, that is totally fine. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed some that I hated or hated some that I enjoyed. No love lost here. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video where we're going to talk about some of the exciting up and coming releases that I happen to know of now, because we don't know what else is on the horizon here in the early fall. See you in that video. Take care.